play.
Okay.
Okay, so let's start. Today is Friday, 13th of June, 2025. And today we are talking with Roman Leschuh, who is a lead engineer of front-end development within the Ethora team. Hello, Roman. How are you doing?
Hello, everything is okay.
Perfect. So today we would like to talk about the Ethora React NPM Chat Component and what this means for building your own AI agent apps. So let's start, because you are the father, we can say, you're the author of the Ethora NPM Chat Component. You created it, you packaged the NPM. So can you tell a little bit more about what it is? What is this NPM Chat Component?
Yep. So as you said, the Ethora Chat Component is prepackaged, ready-to-use React component, which is published on NPM. So this component lets developers integrate a full chat experience into web apps quickly and easily. So it was extracted from our larger Ethora super app engine. It was it's simplified and I guess more speeded version of the Ethora. So it uses XMPP chat protocol and connects to a Jabbert chat server for robust instant messaging. And I guess real power of the chat component comes from XMPP provider, which manages the real-time connection and makes chat functionality available anywhere in your app. And also you can use the chat component anywhere in your app. So yeah, that's it.
Sounds great, thank you. And just for those who don't maybe understand the specifics of NPM packages, how is it different? So we published this as an NPM package. It's available on npmjs.com. How is this different from publishing our code just on GitHub as an open source repository, for example?
So basically, NPM package transforms source code into direct installable dependency. So it don't require cloning, manual dependency managing, or piecewise integration as needed in GitHub. So single command npm install and Ethora Chat Component handles all dependencies and versioning. And also, so it significantly reduces setup time, allowing user to create cleaner project structure and simplifies the updates of Ethora component.
So basically, it's a ready package and making it easier for developers to build something with this component. And NPM is particularly popular across which technical stack, like JavaScript, Typescript, Node?
Yeah, so basically it is popular within the, I guess, JavaScript frameworks and variants. So basically React, Next.js, React Native, Next.js again, sorry, Angular, Vue.js, they all use NPM. So NPM is Node Package Manager. So it's basically for packages for JavaScript.
Okay. So yeah, makes sense mainly for JavaScript developers, but obviously because within Ethora we use React.js for web version of the front end. We use React Native for iOS and Android mobile version. So this makes sense totally for us to release the modular bit, the most important modular bit as an NPM package. So in terms of like structure or architecture, is there like some internal structure or architecture to NPM packages normally, or to our specific package, or is it like coming as one, one piece, and it just includes everything?
So at the very end, we have one piece, one package, but inside we have, I guess, some many structures. So we have the structure as folder for our UI components. Then we have the structure for our global store, which is written in Redux. And also we have the XMPP structure where we have done all the functionality for XMPP and the Jabber connection. So
okay, and I'm just looking at the code, which is so NPM is showing us the code structure. So there is networking folder, there are like components and assets folders. So that's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Different kind of submodules, but it's all packaged into one component.
Yeah. So we have at the very end we have just a few files. So it's bundled JavaScript file, bundled CSS file, and that's all.
Right. And how could this develop? So like if we, like you and I, discuss as like members of our team, our R&D team, so is this going to remain as one NPM package, or do we have is it possible, depending on like feedback from developers and like requirements, that we should break it down into multiple packages, or like create some nested structure? I think we discussed that briefly, right? So what's your opinion today about those kind of things?
Yeah, so we will possibly move towards nested NPM packages where we can split the main package from Ethora component to the XMPP for the store and for UI components. So whenever some developer or user want to install some package independently, it will be available for him.
Okay, perfect. So that will help in situations where you probably, some like a developer or organization, they don't need everything that we have in the current NPM package, and they only need like potentially just like simpler UI, or just networking bit, or maybe just like one of the screens, or right, something like that. So they can choose. So do you understand it correctly that when it's nested, there will be like one parent or something like that, like a component which might include other components, or is it not the case?
Yep. So basically, our goal is balance drop-in simplicity with advanced customization.
Right.
So yep. So we will have one parent package. So it is now called Chat Component, Ethora Chat Component, and then whenever user wants to install the XMPP independently, he will have the opportunity to do this.
Okay, understood. Thank you. And now, so if we go, so I mean, this has the README. It has documentation in terms of how to install, and by the way, so one thing, yeah, just forgot to ask. So the size, right? So right now the size, unpacked size is like around 6 megabytes. Does it mean that the app? So what would be the size added to the app when someone uses Ethora Chat Component?
So it depends on cache and everything else, but I guess it will be up to 20 megabytes. But I guess that's all right for the whole messaging app in NPM.
Right. And once we create this like nested structure, we will potentially allow developers, make it easier for them to only include the bits which are required for their project. So that means it will be less of a size addition. I mean, 20 megabytes is not a huge size, but we will make further improvements there, right?
Yep, and also we will make some refactoring to reduce the size for the chat component itself, and also creating some independable structures inside chat component. allows us to create a chat component for React Native. So it is basically done, but we will improve it in next versions.
Perfect. Thank you. So that's clear, and for me, and I hope clear for those who will listen to this or read our discussion. So next question is, could you like shed more light into like frameworks and variants? So when I was testing this, so this uses Vite package for installation. So when you type npm create Vite, and then so I mean before we deploy chat component, is there like recommendation to which framework or which variation to use with like a template or boilerplate Vite project? Because we can see options for vanilla, I assume JavaScript vanilla, for Vue, I assume Vue.js, React, Preact, which I don't know much about, Lead, Svelte, Quick, and others. And then, so can you tell more about which is the recommended option here?
Okay, so chat component integrates seamlessly into a React project. So Next.js, create React app with, it will all work with chat component seamlessly. But if we talk about Angular, Vue, or Svelte, it depends how you install it, because you can just create a React app and host it somewhere and use our chat component inside your Angular app via iframe. But for now, we don't have the opportunity to direct support for Angular or Vue.
So to like summarize, do I understand it correctly that if someone builds a project like from scratch, then we recommend using React, because that's our native code used for chat component. That's like the native framework for us. However, we also support like vanilla JavaScript, for example, or other frameworks potentially. It might need like some like further like debugging or the specific type of installation or integration. So basically, the choice here is, if you build a new app from scratch, then just go for React. But if you have some existing code like written in vanilla JavaScript or, for example, in Vue, then you might want to choose that option to make it easier to integrate chat component into your existing project, right?
Yeah, so basically on these screenshots, we can see how to create a React app. So just, yeah. So our option, and we recommend using React with Typescript, but also when React with vanilla JavaScript will also work, as well as Next.js with TypeScript.
Okay, understood. So same applies to frameworks. So this will be basically up to developers, depending on whether they have existing like project, existing code, and they have some preference for framework there. If they don't, then we recommend going for React and TypeScript, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So, right. So in terms of possible, we talked a little bit about possible way to deploy. So there is like full instruction here. Then you deploy the npm install chat component, replace the code in the main application file, and then you run, and then you see the chat window. So let's briefly talk about possible use cases, because when we obviously release this as a chat component, I'll just like explain that quickly to everybody, that before we released it as a chat component, and at the moment we also have the whole app. So there is a code base for the whole Ethora engine for web app, for React.js app, and for React Native app for iOS and Android. So before we had like the whole engine, and we still have it published on GitHub as an open source. So now we have released the chat component as like a lower, a smaller piece, but which is like highly reusable. And we have updated our engine for our mobile app and our front web app. So the chat component is an important core bit inside it. So this means that we can support more of different use cases. Because previously, when we released the whole app, it could be like too complex or too advanced or too broad for some of the use cases that potentially our customers or developers would have. So if you don't need the whole app, you only have like some existing project and you want to integrate it there, or you want something simpler, just like the chat screen, our previous approach was not ideal for you because you would need to work through a lot of code and extract bits that remove bits, like lots of dependencies. So that would be difficult. Now, as I understand it, with chat component, it's much easier to build something like simpler or integrate into like existing like project or some legacy software if needed. So let's briefly discuss the use cases. So my understanding that one of the use cases could be that integrate. So we talked about a new app. So we can build a new app for like group chat, AI agent capabilities using chat component, and it works. So, and the chat component includes like login section as well, right? So login screen. So we can do the whole thing starting from login screen to like list of chats to like the chat experience itself. But it's also customizable. So if needed, the developer can just use just a part of it, right?
Yeah. So I guess so. Our use cases were just like, as you said, embedding into legacy software. So when some client has a software, some website, we can integrate our chat component inside it seamlessly, even if it is vanilla JavaScript, because
So
we
sorry, quick question about that immediately. So you mentioned vanilla JavaScript. So does it mean, so when you want to add a chat widget, so you say you have some legacy web portal, you want to add like chat window there. So what options do you have? Do you have it like as a chat widget? Do you integrate it as part of your web app web page? Or do you do like iframe, like which, and do you have to choose the same framework as you have? So if you have JavaScript, then you choose vanilla JavaScript to build our chat component.
Yeah, okay. So basically, as you said, there are two ways. So user can host somewhere the app with chat component itself and use it in iframe inside his app, legacy app. And if a user wants, he can integrate the chat component inside vanilla JavaScript using the build files. Yeah. So both ways works.
Right. Okay.
Also, I guess as other use cases are building something like a web app for group chat or AI agent capabilities, or building iOS or Android apps with React Native. And also you created some WordPress build. So for WordPress, it is also easily to integrate.
Okay, so WordPress. Lots of people have WordPress websites, WordPress powered websites. I mean, visitors don't always know that, but like most of us will appreciate that a lot of websites on the internet are powered by WordPress CMS engine. So how can someone who has a WordPress website use these, like our chat component, to add a chat to their website? Would they need to do some, I mean, right at the moment, I mean, we've done some experimental things, as you mentioned. We didn't release the WordPress plugin yet, so they cannot go to some plugin section and enable it automatically. So before, we have that option, can they still benefit from the chat component if they have the WordPress website or maybe some other system website?
Yeah, I guess so. The main so users can add the chat component into WordPress as alike to vanilla JavaScript. So they basically add some element from HTML like div and give it an ID or class name. And using this class name, they select this element and integrate chat component inside it using JavaScript script.
Right. So it's like a div element, and then you can pretty much insert it into your WordPress template or footer or somewhere, depending where you insert it and depending on your theme. It will be showing the group web chat somewhere in your layout. And as I understand it, unless the website owner has done some further integration with the backend, like existing users management system or WordPress system, then it will just show our standard login screen for the user to authenticate. And then once the end user or visitor authenticates using, for example, email and password or Google single sign-on, then they will be able to participate in a group chat in that specific website. But also potentially, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but the developer, the owner of the website can use enable, disable some things in our or change the behavior of our login or user authentication. For example, if they want just one user to be there hard-coded, so anybody can just write messages without having to log in, or having some random I don't know, gravatars or something like that generated just for visitors, just to talk just right now, but without having to log in and to remember their accounts for future. So there are options and choices there to choose from, right?
Yeah. So also I can add that we have added the backend to backend support, where a user can create some API calls for our Ethora backend, and it helps with creating users, creating chat rooms. So you just send the data into chat component via config, and it helps to authenticate user as well. So, yes.
Right. So when I'm just looking at Firebase here, so Firebase, so to allow the owners of the website or the app to onboard end users with Google single sign-on, they have to set up their Firebase ID, right?
Yep. For now, we use Firebase from Ethora to authenticate users. So if someone needs our sign-on, he should ask us for adding their website to the allowed domains on Firebase. But if user wants to use his own Firebase app, he can change it via config, and it will still work.
Okay, perfect. So that totally makes sense. Let's see. So we just talked about the backend, and I'm just looking at what would be the experience. So because obviously chat component comes connected to at least two of networking or communication channels. One is the API of Ethora platform, and another one is the XMPP protocol for the chat server. So immediately, out of the box, is it connected to a specific app, or do we expect the user or the customer to set up their own application ID from Ethora backend?
Yep. So it is immediately connected to beta Ethora website backend, but also using config, you can use your own app. So you basically go to betaethora.com, then you create an app there, and you can find your config data in the privacy tab in your app on betaethora. Yep. So just go to API. So this is a API key used for your app, and it helps to get your full information, to get app token, so you can communicate with your API. So you basically also you can set the config for XMPP. So there will be XMPP provider, XMPP domain, and for now XMPP is used mostly on beta Ethora.
Right, thank you. So just to summarize and clarify this for developers, there is like a standard setting, but you're expected, if you want your to have the chat component to use your own context, your own backend application, just go to ethora.com, sign up here for the free plan, and once you create your app, it will look like this. So you will be able to see your application. You can change appearance, like other things here. You see the web address URL for your web application. You can create like mobile app build, and in the API section, you can retrieve your key and secret for your API, and then you can add it into your chat component. So your end users will be chatting within your own backend context. So, okay, I think we made it, we clarified that.
I just want to add one point. So on beta Ethora, the secret and key you use for backend to backend connection. But when you have backend to backend connection in your app, you use your API to connect with beta Ethora API, so you can retrieve the data for authenticating the user in that component.
Got it. Thank you. Yeah, so that's another thing. So previously you mentioned, and now you mentioned that obviously we have this option for backend to backend connection. So that means better options for advanced integration of the chat component into existing like legacy software. So, for example, someone has, as a developer, as a like tech manager, you have like a legacy software, some certain enterprise application which has a web portal, for example, and you need to add messaging in there. You would want to resolve somehow replication of users. So you can use it for a chat component. For all new users, it will be working fine, but to tie together the registrations of your users and to make sure that all the accounts are created, there is this backend to backend option, and there is this option to use the API and to create end users and to replicate their creation with your existing legacy software. Also, Ethora API supports external ID, so that means that you could expose your leverage your existing system of identification for your users in your system, and you don't have in your system to remember how the users are identified on the Ethora backend side. So we clarified that, so that's great. But now, this whole discussion about backend brings me to the point of nowadays, as we discussed with you, Roman, you're experimenting with a lot of new AI assisted tools like V0, Vercel, Lovable, and I I spend quite a lot of time with Cursor and things like that. So obviously, these sort of AI-assisted coding platforms help developers, or even non-developers in some cases, to build applications or at least prototypes faster. So where does this position us, the current, state of the things and where the things are going? Where does our Ethora Chat component sits there, and what does it mean like for the future? Like, is it like could it be used together, or like when somebody you can ask like V0 like Vercel or Lovable to create a front-end application for yourself? So does it mean that our chat component is still useful, or will it be used as part of that, or is it like becoming obsolete? Like, what's your thoughts about that?
So I think these AI tools helps to create your app, to show your vision. But if you want to add the chat to your app, Ethora Chat Component is, I guess, one of the best options because it is added very easily. So you just, as you mentioned, you just npm install it, and every AI tool can help with it. And also every AI tool can help with creating the config file, the styling for chat component, because chat component is easily styled, so you can change message bubble inputs, you can change background. So if you have app about some cats or dogs, you can style the chat component as you want. So I guess we try to keep up with every AI tool, and we can also integrate the bot, who is an AI agent inside our chat component. So you can create an app using chat component itself.
It's perfect. I actually want to come back to this point. We'll just come back to this a bit later, just to clarify and summarize. And the reason that I brought up this question was I just got reminded through our backend discussion. So in my experience, I don't know, like maybe you have like more understanding there, but currently, so systems like V0, Vercel, like Lovable and others, they help you create mainly like a front-end application from scratch. So you can give it like, or even like a prototype of your interface. So they're not so strong with the backend side of the things. So currently, at least that's the state of the AI-assisted coding, as I understand. I mean, it's going through phases. So it started with the first phase where it does just auto-completion of the line of the code. Second phase is where it does agentic implementation of a small application, or like at least some lines of the code, and it's aware of your code base. And now we are going to like through the beginning of the third phase, where the potentially you can leave it like working at night or in the background. Like we have already experimented with Cursor and others, where it does implements like potentially a whole project without asking you any questions, but still it's a bit tricky and it's not strong in the backend kind of thing. So I guess the point I wanted to make here, but correct me if I'm wrong, or maybe make like counterpoints, is am I correct in understanding that so like when you build like AI generated prototype, currently you will not have the backend implemented. So what's the advantage of the chat component as we have it right now? It's already plugged into the API, into XMPP, into the protocols, into the chat server, and obviously into this whole infrastructure, which has been developed and implemented using like many years of and using a lot of experience in this specifically architecture, infrastructure, like things like, for example, a Jabber chat server, which we use, same technology, which has been used by WhatsApp and things like that. So my understanding that AI doesn't help to AI development tools don't are not able at the moment to build those kind of complex backend items. However, with the front end and with prototyping of some UI and of the front end interface, they're like super helpful. And then that's probably like coming to like the next question. Then maybe if you have any comments on this or like answer to this, like next question that I have is, if somebody uses like something like, so they want their own type of style or UI and they love what, you know, Vercel v0 Lovable built for them in terms of like front end, but they want to use our chat component as part of that development, and they want to manage somehow connect it together. Is it possible, or is it like that would be like completely different things? So they can just use the AI generated stuff just to show it to some developers and say, this is how I want it. Can you now style the chat component according to my prototype? Or is it possible actually to, you know, combine and bring these things together somehow?
Yeah, so like you can just create some parts of chat component using v0 or Lovable. So you just say to them, create me some edited message bubble for chat component. So the AI will know which types we need, which props we need to pass to this component, and it will create the working component, for example, a chat bubble. So for now, we have some view where you can click right click on it, and it will show us some reply or copy message, so some actions. And if you don't want it, you just ask the AI agent to create some custom message bubble for you with custom color, with custom borders and other styling, maybe with some animation. So and you just pass it as a custom message bubble, and it will work. So it will work for other components as well.
Interesting. So you can actually use those AI assisted tools to help customize the chat component.
Yeah, correct.
Perfect. Cool. So the next question then, I mean, we can briefly touch the point that you made for the AI agents. So somebody wants to release their own chat AI agent app. Will they be able to use our chat component for that?
Yeah, so basically we are in work to create some SDK for XMPP. And after we made this, you can use it for adding your bot. So basically, you just register an account, then you use our API for creating this account. Then using the XMPP SDK, you can add this bot to any chat if you want to. And also, which is a really good benefit, the chat will work for multiple people. So when you use ChatGPT, for example, OpenAI or Gemini, you speak to it by yourself only. But in our chat component and your bot integration or our bot integration, you can make a chatbot connect with your team or with your whole team, not one just one person. Yeah. And it will also handle all the context for you. No, so you just need to properly setting your AI bot so it can have 10 messages in context or more, and you just configure it and it will work. So I guess
that's a great point you just made. So with our chat component infrastructure, when you create your own AI agent or put existing AI agent like OpenAI on top of it, you can actually have all of your team in a group chat, or maybe your customers or some specific group interacting with this AI agent, with this chatbot, which unlocks new possibilities and new potential there. New collaboration and some in-game mechanics or like collaborative mechanics, which is really interesting. So yeah, and again, this is like important point I'd also like to underscore. So I think nowadays it's there is a lot of popularity around AI projects, and that's fantastic because more developers, organizations, startups, enterprise employees, like any enthusiasts who willing to experiment with these things, in many cases find that it's actually easy to experiment and to build something or to interact with AI agents. At the same time, so like you can use it for your own, like you can use it for through interface like ChatGPT, for example, or Claude, do some perplexity search and things like that. At the same time, there are no easy options to take. You cannot take ChatGPT, put it into your app easily and release it to your clients, to your customers, to your user base, or to your employees to be a part of your business process. To do that, you need that infrastructure for your app, and you need not just you need the front end, you need the back end, and you need the chat messaging infrastructure. You need some other bits like push notifications. You need file attachments. You need all these things that modern messaging is bringing to us. Like somebody is typing, you can see they're typing. So in order not to, I mean, that's like, it could take years, at least like several months, to implement those kind of things properly. So in order to unlock and enable people create their own AI agent apps, that's what makes it as excited, and that's like one of the benefits of the Ethora Chat Component and the whole infrastructure that we built. So people can actually focus on building some really interesting AI agent, and we take care of all the heavy lifting and all this, like I call it an iceberg. So those like lower levels of the infrastructure under it that support it all together. So I guess that's the whole point, right? So I mean, yeah, and thank you, Roman, for your fantastic contribution and for your work on making this happen. This the whole our front end engine and the chat component. I'm personally like super excited and looking forward to see more of applications that will use Ethora Chat Component just simply for messaging, but also for building and delivering their own AI agents on top of it. I think that future is bright, and I'm super happy that we are enabling all of those projects.
Yeah, I guess I also want to admit that we are, I guess, moving to something like a bot marketplace on Ethora. So now, if you create some bot, you will can to share it with other people. And also, I just want to mention that our chat component is compatible with video and audio messages. So you can even use AI to generate some audio or video messages for you. Just for example, you can create the bot which will get the text from you, and in return he will give you the MP3 file, which is just transcribed text to audio. I guess that's one of use cases.
Wow, that's really exciting. Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a great topic for our next conversation. So let's keep it in the notes, like the bots marketplace, the further intricacies and specifics of building or delivering your own AI agent on top of Ethora, and all the exciting things you can do there. So let's talk about that. Let's plan to talk about that.
Yeah.
For now, I think we've covered like very important core topics. So thank you so much, Roman. That's been really useful.
Yeah, thank you as well.
Cool. Have a great day then, and we'll look forward to our next conversation.
Yeah, have a great day too.
Thank you.
Bye. Peace.
Bye.